Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Power Your Life radio show with host and success doc JoAnne White. Author, speaker, certified coach, and energy master, Doc White gets to the heart of what matters most. She features guests and experts to help you consciously create more success, health, and wellness in every area of your life, work, and relationships. They'll share their success stories, wisdom, and know-how to help you shine more light onto your day and into your life. Power your life right now. Here's JoAnne White.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today on Power Your Life. And I'm excited because we really are looking for ways of connecting, especially after going through a lot of isolation and separation through COVID and everything that's going on. And so we really need to know how to network, how to connect in a way that not only serves us and helps us be more successful, but really values the interactions between people. And so I have a wonderful guest who's going to talk about that. And Wendy, I hope I'm saying your name right, Wendy Keverly, who is, hey, beautiful, who's a networking coach.
First person to say it right on the first try. Good job.
Yes, thank you. And connection facilitator with 20-plus years of entrepreneurial and networking experience, as well as 7+ years dedicated referral network facilitation. Wendy brings her networking skills and knowledge to professionals looking to learn how to effectively connect with others to create a solid foundation for success. She's a master connector, a business community advocate, as well as a speaker, and Wendy coaches individuals on what makes networking a valuable skill. Wendy breaks down the complex and yet, yes, and I agree with this, overwhelming prospect of networking into easy-to-define landscapes, giving professionals like all of you confidence as well as control. And she encourages clients to view networking as an enjoyable adventure that can soon feel like an art form. Welcome, Wendy. I hope at some point it does feel like an art form for me. How are you?
It will. Good. I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Wonderfully. Thank you. So I think as I introduce, networking is so important. Why don't you define it a little bit for listeners?
Yes. I actually realized early on when I was trying to teach people about the importance of networking that the fastest way to do that was to tell them what it was not. And that was selling and marketing, because it's often confused with selling and marketing. They think that networking is something that you do exclusively to get to the sale or to advertise your product, when it isn't. It's a completely independent skill. So the fastest way to show that separation is by the textbook dictionary definition. Selling is the exchange of goods and services for an agreed upon amount of money. That's not networking. Marketing is the act of advertising or promoting a service or item to sell, where networking is the open exchange of knowledge in an effort to increase personal or professional connections. And it's right there in the dictionary definition. Networking is about connecting with people, and that is separate from selling and marketing. It might get mixed in with those two other skill sets. It might be valuable to help those two other skill sets, but you can network without expectations of a sale, without trying to advertise a product, and still have that be such a valuable part of your daily business life for that success.
You know, I think it's so important. Like when I've had a lot of people on my shows and been connecting with them, that feels really like I'm here to help people add value to their lives, to also to other people. And I formed relationships with people. So is it really about a relationship? Is that what networking is?
It is. It's about establishing a connection with someone without knowing what or if they will bring value to you. Because we don't know what the future brings. You and I met through networking. We have a mutual acquaintance. And if that mutual acquaintance had not built a relationship with me where she knows what type of person I am, I call it the know and like and trust relationship, and she felt the same way about you, we never would have met. So, but yet, when I connected with our mutual acquaintance, I didn't do it with the thought that someday she's going to get me on JoAnne's radio show. You don't know that. You don't know what value someone will bring to your life. So if you go into a relationship or a connection with an upfront expectation of what you're going to get out of it, you could be missing the true value.
I think that's so important because, like you said, when we met, it was just because of a mutual friend of ours or connection of ours. She's a close friend of mine, really valued.
She's a good friend.
Right, each one of us in a separate way, and thought we would be able to connect in some way and also bring value. I think relationships bring value to one another, whether it's joy, conversation, knowledge, like you said earlier. So that's important. And I think then as we talked, it was apparent to me that what your skill set is also important to other people, and so that's why I invited you on the show, to be able to share your expertise and your skill, because I think, again, it's important, even with this show, to bring value and to help people learn and grow. So here's my question. We talked earlier about what's going on with a lot of social media, and I won't mention any platform. You can do that. And it feels like people are connecting really just to sell, and it's frustrating. How do we differentiate? What do we do?
So, well, let's first talk about the cause of that. This is actually where my second business, Crusaders Networking, got its start. Was last year when all of the quarantine lockdowns went into place, that all of a sudden businesses realized that they had relied very heavily on only one form of networking or marketing to sell. They did the cold call, they did the door knock, they did the business expo or the home and garden shows or whatever the case may be, but they relied very heavily on the one and done sales process. So all of a sudden, that wasn't an option for them. And that's when all of a sudden, I bet you got them too. You got those emails last year from a company that you did business with 3 years earlier, just wanting to check in on you. Are you doing okay? We just want to make sure you're safe in these trying times. And, oh, by the way, here's our product or service in case you need to buy it again.
Right.
That's artificial connection. And that's a connection that's intended for the sale. So those practices, those real-life practices of cold calling, door knocking, business expo, home and garden show practices got moved into the digital world. They basically took their bad habits into a digital world because they couldn't do it in the real world at the time. And so that's what you're getting. I think we've all gotten those. It's that connection request, which is immediately followed up by a sales pitch, and then they kind of don't get why you're not interested. You accepted their connection request, right? So I've kind of started to describe that as the equivalent of a digital cold calling, where that's no different. If you knocked on my front door and I opened up the door to see who was there and you just burst in and sat down on my couch and started talking, you would never do that. But that's the equivalent of I'm sending the connection request and immediately sending a sales pitch with it. you haven't given that person a reason to let you in. Accepting the connection request or the friend request or clicking on a link is basically opening a door. They're willing to listen, to get to know you, and then listen to the sales pitch. So in the digital world, in the networking world, it's a slower paced thing. You have to have steps, and those steps include permission. You know, maybe you want to get to an appointment with that person, either at a coffee shop or in a Zoom call. But if you just aggressively send your calendar link, you shouldn't be surprised if they say, okay, thank you, and then you never hear from them again. Just, hey, I saw your profile. I'm really interested in what you do. Would it be okay? Would you be willing to tell me more about you? If they say yes, great. I really like connecting with people either in real life or on a Zoom call. Is that okay? If they say yes, then you send a link to your calendar or put time on your calendar. It's a little slower process, but by the time you actually get that time with the other person, you're both there and open to the exchange. I will get a conversation with that person. Go on.
No, I will get things like, I love to connect with you. What do you do?
Right.
And I'm thinking, you see me. I'd like to be able to have a different kind of conversation, and so that bothers me because they know what I do. But then the other piece is not do you want to talk, but I think this is something you might be interested in, and then it's like follow this link or or
right.
And if you're selling.
So how do they know that this is something you might be interested in if they don't know you? That's they need to get to know you first.
Right, but here's the thing. I would like, if somebody tries to reach out to me, like when I want to connect with someone, I look at their profile. I find some reason that I feel that I want to connect, rather than who are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you want to connect, you would, in my opinion, you would kind of figure that out a little bit and then want more connection. Does that make sense, or am I totally off?
Yeah, no, you're not. Nothing I do, nothing I teach or coach is groundbreaking or new. Actually, the landscapes are, but the idea of connecting is not. We can go all the way back to Dale Carnegie on that, where it's about making it about the other person first. Isn't that what Dale Carnegie said? You will make more friends in 2 months caring about their problems than 2 years trying to get them to care about yours. So if you sincerely want to connect with someone, make it about them first. And people like to talk about themselves. Make it about them first. Show that you can be of value to them, even if it is just as someone who can reconfirm that what they're doing is amazing or what they're doing is valuable and worthwhile. You might even be able to connect them to people inside your existing network, like, you're fabulous. I know somebody who needs to talk to you. Is it okay if I introduce you to? So I've
had the reverse happen. I've had people contact me and say, could you introduce me to whatever? I said, well, I really don't know. I really am not comfortable. I don't know this person enough to be able to do that or whatever. Well, you're connected with them. Yeah, but I really don't. And then I kind of, I can't, because basically this person wants to connect for some specific reason. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right, because I have had that exact same situation too, where I have 2,000 people that I'm connected to on, let's say, LinkedIn, and one of my extended referral partners will say, hey, John Smith, can you get me a warm introduction to him? Well, I'm connected to John Smith, but I don't know him. And when you do a warm introduction between two people, you are actually involving your own personal reputation. So
right, and so you want to be sure that you know that person. That's how
yes.
I feel.
Yeah,
and so I don't know if I offended.
You're not doing anything wrong.
Right. Okay.
I hope not. I would hope not. Cause
I hope not either.
Yeah,
it just seemed like
honest.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather, like, again, the way you and I connected was through someone that we valued and that valued us, and that felt warm and right, and it was really more about connecting and networking, and that's why we did what we did.
Right. And by not doing a warm introduction to someone you really don't know is actually a protective act for the person you do. You know, you don't want to introduce somebody to a bad referral partner or a bad marketing person. You don't want to be the one responsible for hooking your girlfriend up with the abusive boyfriend. So you're actually protecting your network by saying to them, I do not know this person well enough to feel comfortable giving a warm introduction between you. I don't want you connected to somebody who is not as good as you deserve. And therefore, you made it about them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into the more of the meat of what networking is and how do we do it successfully. Again, in terms of being successful for ourselves, but also bringing value to the other person, because to me that's very important.
Yes. How do you bring value to the other person? Well, let's see. Networking
and also bring success to ourselves.
Right,
and to
right,
them.
right. Well, it comes back. Yeah, it comes back to you. Well, first let's talk a
so
little bit about the win-win.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, the win-win. Well, I was just thinking, I want to first just kind of briefly mention these landscapes that I keep talking about in networking. Networking is a very general term for a very detailed skill, right? We talk about the skill becoming an art form. And part of that ability is to learn to recognize where you are and which technique will help you get the results you're seeking. And that's why I've created these networking landscapes. And everyone is familiar with farming and hunting. It's very common used terms to describe techniques in selling and marketing and networking. That's a farming practice, that's a hunting practice. And I kind of embraced that. So when I was looking at how do I teach people how to effectively network, I kept thinking, well, this is a networking technique, but it's not really a farming technique. But it's not really a hunting technique either. And I really started to realize that networking has basically 4 components to it, or 4, end games, right? 4 goals. One is to build a reliable network of people who you can refer to, who refers to you. One landscape is, and that's the farming. You have your farm. You bring everything back to your farm. These are the people that they're your go-to. You are their go-to. You have no problem referring them, and they always send people your way. That's your farm. That's the relationship building. That's the super long-term investment. Just like a garden, you plant the seed, you cultivate the crop, and then you harvest. And
right.
But another landscape is the hunting landscape. And this has become very interesting for me to teach people, because people think of hunting from a sales standpoint, where it's that door knocking, right? Or that flyer in the mail, or the phone call. I just got a phone call today from my extended car warranty. Who knew my car was so desperately in need of its new extended warranty to be renewed? And but from a networking standpoint, hunting is about managing the frustrations with how slow networking can be, and making a plan and how you're going to find what you need to bring back to your farm, which is your home base. So farming is for those analytical people, or hunting is for the analytical people. They want a plan, they want a process, They want to manage, they want to track their success. And then you have this foraging landscape. And the foraging landscape is the skill sets that you use to find what you've decided you need. I need to know an estate attorney. I need another plumber. I need somebody that I can call upon to listen to me rant crazily and tell me that, no, you're not crazy. It's a good idea. So the foraging is raising your awareness on how to spot multitude of opportunities around yourself and becoming comfortable enough so you can change your presentation, change your introduction, change how you connect with people to make those connections, and to be just as excited by connecting with a new person who might be a new referral partner as connecting to a new person who might be a customer. And then the fourth landscape is I call fishing. And this is that networking technique that people use to get introduced to those who are going to take them to the bigger rooms. So that person that's going to mentor you, help you grow, introduce you to those bigger places so your business can grow. So it actually is networking as a landscape has 4 very different and distinct skill sets that all help bring balance. So you have where you take care of your existing referral partners and your clients, and you're growing your business, where you're finding your new clients, your new referral partners, your new business, how you're going to track your progress so you know you're on the right path, and then how you're going to meet those new people who are going to bring your entire network up with them. And all of that is under the umbrella of networking. So by breaking it down into these easily translatable landscapes that serve a purpose and have a different skill set, as you mentioned in my intro, it gives you power over it because you recognize where you are and you know how to react to get the results you're seeking. And I probably went off way too far on a tangent, but I get very passionate about this skill. It's a skill, but then even Tom Brady practices. So you practice the skill, and then it becomes an art form. And then other people see you and think, wow, they're just a natural. When the answer is no, it's just a skill they practiced a lot.
So how do you know where to start or how to start for people who want to begin this 4-pronged process on this, and yet maybe they're doing it, maybe they're not really doing it as consciously as developing a skill that you're talking about, Wendy? What do they do?
Well, usually I start with the farm. If you don't have a home base, if you don't have that mindset or skill set on how to build an effective, sincere relationship about connecting without expectations, then all the other steps will not be as effective. So we always start with that basics. There are a lot of people out there that they're quite good at making a connection, meeting a new person, at a networking event or just out in public or a random phone call, but it's taking it beyond that first layer that most people struggle with. I made a connection, and I added them to my email list, and they get emails twice a week from me, and that's me keeping in touch. Is it, or is that you spamming them? Because part of that keep in touch is a layering process. So what I do suggest for people is to first, let's talk about what you do, and then let's talk about the people you're already connected to and how are you maintaining those connections. A key way is the one-on-one, and I don't have any other way. There's so many names for it: one-on-ones, learn and earns, coffee and convos, trust builders, whatever the case is, whatever you call it, it's you giving your time to one other person to learn about them. Find out what they do, how they do it, who they're looking for, and if you can be of assistance to them. That's if I had to say, what's the one thing you should ask every time you talk to somebody, the question is, how can I help you? Because it's about them. And,
you know, again, that's an important question. And sometimes that question is asked, but it doesn't feel sincere because, again, they have that product or that sale right behind it.
Exactly. So what you can do is you might have to lead by example, right? So you might have to flip that sale on them a little bit because you know that they're asking how they can help you, hoping that they're going to say, well, here's the perfect solution, my product. Ta-da! You can show them really, we know that. So why can't you just turn it on them and say, actually, the better question is, how can I help you? And if they don't, and sometimes they don't know because, you know, this is the first time you've met. They don't really know you or your network. So you can flip the question or tailor the question a little bit more and change it to, well, what do you need right now? Everyone always knows what they need. I need more introductions. I need more. I need more customers. I need to meet so and so. So you know, between you and me and probably everybody listening right now, one of my favorite parts. This is also a really good tactic for the people who do knock on your door. You know, the roof and siding and windows people. When you make it about giving them an opportunity to connect with more people, you find out really fast what kind of professional they are. Because the good ones will be curious. The ones who are just there for the sale usually will move on without you having to move them on.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
So when you say curious, they want to know more about who those people are and who you are before they want to be connected. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Well, they're curious because they're like, well, yeah, I would actually like to meet more people. How do I do that? You know, they suddenly become less about trying to sell their product and more about trying to find the mutual connection. I'm trying to think of a good like I said, I tend to use this quite a little bit on those people who knock on my door because they have lawn care services or they have pest removal or whatever the case may be. And I started using it as a way to deflect them. Without me having to be rude, I can say, you know what, if you're looking to connect with more people, I can help you do that. Give me your email address, and I'll bring you to one of my referral teams, and I'll introduce you to a room full of professionals. And and it's, like I said, it's a great deflect, but occasionally I get that salesperson who's like, that would be really great because I love helping others. So it's a great way to find out if their vibe belongs in your tribe by seeing how they respond to an offer to learn more about them, to connect them.
That's a great idea.
It is. And you know what else is really nice about it, or this is actually a really good, I guess maybe tip or trick for the people who are listening. The next time you go to a networking event or you're connecting with a new person, you are low-level interviewing the other person, but they're doing the same thing. They're listening for who you are, what do you do, how you do business. Are you someone that you want to introduce to your network, and who do you know that might need to know them? So it's kind of it's especially for the master networker. So the next time you're talking to someone that you know is a great networker, they're interviewing you without you realizing it. So I think about that sometimes, where I'm listening. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's important. It's so important to listen. It really is important to listen, and that's a lot of people don't do that. They don't really have that skill or develop that skill, and I believe that's very important in networking because again, that's about, in my mind, giving a way of giving value. So how do people get to a place as seeing networking, because we're running out of time here, as an art form, and also bringing success not only to themselves but also to the people that they're networking with.
How do you, what's the first part again? I want to make sure I answer your questions accurately.
The art form. How do we begin to see networking and experience networking as an art form?
Well, first thing that you do is intention. You have to set your intention that you are going to connect with people for reasons beyond the sale. So, like with a lot of life, and I have no doubt this resonates with you, it all starts with intention. What is the purpose that you are going to do? If you turn your mind, or other professionals turn their mind on to thinking about the net part of networking, think about what a net is. It's a safety net, right? So many businesses and professionals last year found themselves without that safety net because they didn't focus on building that community of support around them. So when the unexpected happened, they fell into a pit, where those who have always kept a part of their business focused on building that network, building that community, when the unexpected happened to them last year, they had a system of people there to keep them motivated, keep them moving forward, keep them looking beyond, to rely on. So my hope is that professionals who weren't doing this before will realize this is something that they don't want to happen again. So they're going to focus part of their time on the intention of building a network so they can be safer. And FYI, as a professional, part of building a good network is making yourself more valuable to your customers. If you are the center of influence, the center, a referral source for them, the answer person for them, your customers are going to stay loyal to you longer and refer you to more people. And that's part of the value of being connected. You are valuable beyond just the sale.
And I love it because, again, people need to hear that you're valuable beyond the sale, because it's not really just about the sale. It's about the connection and the mutual value that we share and that can expand and extend in a wonderful way to many other people. And you do that, Wendy, very beautifully.
Thank you.
You have a gift for our listeners. Share with our listeners what your gift is, and then tell our listeners how they can find out more about networking as an art form, how they can connect with you and learn so much more about what you have to offer regarding networking.
Yes, I actually, I do have a gift that I love giving to people who listen, because the landscapes are a new way of viewing the skill of networking, and I actually offer an introduction to the landscapes. And I do this in collaboration with a business partner who does personality styles, but via birds. And we thought that nature references make us, it makes us ideal referral partners. So we do a 1-hour program together called the Networking and Communications Landscapes Atlas, which is a giant map. And it is a 1-hour introduction to the 4 networking landscapes and what makes each of them important, and 5 different communications and personality styles. And once again, it's intended to raise your awareness of how, if you see it, you have control over it. And I'm offering a discount code. I'm offering this workshop, this program, absolutely free of charge to any of your listeners. And the discount code is LifePower21. I wanted to have people think about they're taking control of their life, they're taking control of their business, they're taking control of their connecting, and I want to help them do that. And to find me, I'm on LinkedIn almost exclusively. LinkedIn, Wendy Caverly. My networking and coaching business is Crusaders Networking, and I love that name, Crusaders, because there's a call to action in it, and it's about a group of people who all have the same goal, helping each other achieve that at the end. And website, wendycarvely.com. And I have our Networking and Communications Landscape Atlas is available through Eventbrite, but I'm happy to make sure anyone who needs the link gets it as well.
Beautiful. So, Wendy, it's about that time. What do you want to leave our listeners with before we close? To be patient with yourself, because networking does take time, but it is always worth the effort. The day will come when you will look back and go, holy cow, I am so glad I made this commitment to myself and my future. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Wendy. I believe that you are changing the way people are seeing networking, and yes, I agree. It can be a wonderful art form. So thank you so much for you and for all that you do.
Thank you so much, JoAnne, for having me. I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure. Thanks, and have a most beautiful day, Wendy. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks. So think about what Wendy said, because, again, it's something that is important. It's not necessarily selling. It's beyond selling, and it's about connecting with people and really learning about who they are, what you can do for them, and also what they can do for you, and being able to connect and expand that and build your network, build your community in a beautiful way. And if you want to connect with me, I'll give you the short version. You can go to DocWhite, DocWhite.org. That's my website. And remember that you have the ability each and every day to reach out and connect with more people and to empower yourself, empower your life one step at a time. Take care of yourselves, be good to yourselves, and patient, as Wendy said, and have a most beautiful day. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to the Power Your Life radio show with host and author Dr. JoAnne White. Listen often and spread the word about the upbeat show to enrich you and grow your life in the direction you desire. Listen again and again and visit DocWhite.org for more information and find out how Dr. JoAnne can benefit you. Thank you for sharing your day with us, and stay tuned for more exciting guests and events to come.